Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for the Tech Guy is provided by CacheFly. CacheFly.com. Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Radio Networks on Sunday, March 9th, 2014. This is episode 1064. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast brought to you by Gazelle, the fast and simple way to sell your used gadgets. Find out what your used iPhone, iPad, or other Apple product is worth at Gazelle.com. And by LegalZoom. Visit LegalZoom.com to save on your legal needs and gain access to a network of legal plan attorneys for guidance. LegalZoom, it's not a law firm. It does provide self-help services at your specific direction. Visit LegalZoom.com and use the offer code TECHGUY, one word, to receive $10 off at checkout. And by ShareFile. Enhance your workflow. Send files of almost any size, easily and securely with ShareFile from Citrix. Try ShareFile today for a 30-day free trial. Go to sharefile.com. Click the microphone and enter Tech Guy. Well, hey. How are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Time to talk about computers, the internet, home theater, smartphones, digital photography, all that stuff. Anything with a chip in it. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number. 888-827-5536. That's toll-free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Outside the U.S. or Canada, you can call the same number via Skype or one of those them-there kind of voice-over-the-internet things, and it should be free to you. 8888 Ask Leo. 888-827-5536. Glad you made it. Daylight savings time didn't throw you, did it? Almost threw me. 20 minutes ago, I was lounging in my jammies. Huh?
Saving, no S.
Saving time. I'm told there's no S in daylight savings time. That makes John crazy. Yeah, don't hit me, John. It's okay. It's daylight saving because we're saving daylight, apparently. Now your computer should adjust, right? Let me see. I think mine's adjusted. Your iPad and your iPhone and all your other smartphones should adjust. But then there's these things called clocks. I know most people have gotten rid of clocks, but I have a few in my house, and they didn't agree. Some said, it's late. Some said, oh, no, you got all the time in the world. Probably should have paid attention to the electronics and not the clocks. I actually even buy, for the most part, wall clocks that are, set the time via radio. But some of them did overnight, and some of them didn't. They will by tomorrow, but sometimes it doesn't happen right away. Then some watches adjust, some don't. Pebble watches should adjust, but apparently they don't. Is that true? Houdini7 in our chat room says, my Pebble didn't set. Huh. So anyway, it is, it's an hour later than they think. Does iOS still have that alarm issue? I thought they fixed that. They must have fixed that by now. Remember last year the alarms were wrong because the alarm clock didn't know about daylight savings time? Well, daylight saving time. I'm never going to say it right, John. You might as well just accept that. Daylight saving time. Doesn't sound right. What makes you think it's not savings?
It's not even good English.
It's not even good English. No, because it's a noun. Savings. We're savings. We have some savings. I have savings in my time account. This is daylight. I'm savings. These are my daylight savings.
It's an adjective.
Well, you say it's an adjective. I say it's a noun. We might disagree on that, but I don't know. Is there one that's right? Who is the authority that says how you say it? The National Institute of Standards and Time, probably.
Everybody who prints it.
Everybody who prints it correctly. The New York Times does it right. The Los Angeles Times does it right.
Radio stations. In the past make a point of it.
Well, all right. I'll try to say it right from now on. It's not the only thing I say wrong. I also say GIF.
No, that's right.
Wait a minute. That's right? I also say GIF. Is that wrong? For a long time, I said February. Now I say February. I gave up. Daylight saving time. I'm looking at the National Institute of Standards and Time. I'm sorry, Standards and Technology. But they do time. See, I even said their name wrong. NIST. And they call it daylight saving. There it is, saving time. Whatever you call it, it's stupid. With 2 O's and a PID. Can we just get rid of that? In fact, I guess, seriously, don't we want to get rid of daylight saving time? Isn't this a dumb thing? We're not in Ben Franklin's time anymore. Is it Franklin or Franklin's? We are in the modern world. It just throws everybody's body clock off. In fact, I've seen studies that say the number of accidents rise precipitously. No, that's probably backwards. See, now you got me second-guessing everything I say. You fall precipitously. You rise what? Surprisingly. Oh, every year at this time because people's body clocks are off and they're groggy and they're driving to work and they run into somebody. Should we split the difference? Life Suzu in our chat room says, let's just move it 30 and leave it. That would really confuse everybody. Which would you prefer, standard time or saving time year-round? I think maybe I like saving time in the summer. It's nice to have those late, summer evenings. Here's a story from the CBS TV station. That means it's got to be true. In New York City, daylight saving time means more traffic accidents. You think I made it up, don't you? No. It's dangerous. This thing is dangerous. It wreaks havoc with our internal body clock. The Monday after daylight saving time is one of the deadliest days on the road. Says, okay, maybe now I don't believe it. Gridlock Sam Schwartz. Well, it must be true. He's a former New York City transportation commissioner. A study analyzing a decade's worth of data from the Fatal Accident Reporting System, FARS, showed a 17% increase in traffic fatalities. We're not just talking fender benders. Traffic fatalities on the Monday after the clock goes forward. It should be, yeah. We should change the clocks constantly so that it's always light at 9 p.m., says Burke. Wrong. Go away. Wrong. Research, according to, what's his name again? Gridlock Sam Schwartz. Research, hey, Gridlock Sam. Researchers believe it has to do with the fact that many people just don't get a good night's sleep the first night of daylight saving time, right, which is last night, because we lost an hour, right? And it takes about a week to get acclimated. A lot of early morning rush hour crashes, says Gridlock Sam. He says truckers often involved in the accidents because their reaction times, which normally have to be pretty darn good for those big behemoths, are just not as good. So tomorrow morning, drive defensively. And Gridlock Sam Schwartz says, have an extra cup of coffee. If I were Starbucks... Starbuck or Starbucks? Starbucks, right? All right. If I were Starbucks, I would have a free cup of coffee the Monday after daylight saving time. Wouldn't that be good? How do you feel, Kim Schaefer? You feel okay? I almost called you Gridlock Kim Schwartz. Gridlock Kim. How? Well, you do traffic reporting sometime, right?
No.
Never?
No, I'm not a traffic reporter.
I thought everybody did traffic reporting at some point in their career. All right.
But I feel good, but free coffee is always a plus.
Yeah.
But I tried to go to bed really early last night to account for this.
See? You were smart.
I was smart. And then my phone, I did the update like you recommended, and I was afraid because of that the time would not change automatically, so I had a couple of alarms set.
That's a smart thing. You didn't want to be late for work.
No.
Like me.
You can be late to your own show.
You can't be late to your own. That's the worst thing. They have, this is a little secret inside baseball. But Nathan keeps a copy of me ready to inflate. Should I not show up? They have got a little inflatable Leo they put in front of the microphone. So. Thank you, Kim's Schaefer's. Gridlock Kim's. All right. So anyway, I guess if you're here, you made it. Unless you're listening later to the hour you missed because you got up late. 8888 Ask Leo. And do me a favor. Drive safely tomorrow. Drive extra just defensively tomorrow. Relax. And, hey, you know what's on tonight? Cosmos. Are we excited about that? Yes. All the geeks, all the nerds, all the science nerds, really excited. Cosmos, the classic PBS series, originally done by Carl Sagan, is being redone by Neil deGrasse Tyson and aired tonight on Fox. I'll be staying up late, 7 o'clock. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Your call's next. I T-voted. I did. 9 o'clock.
Here's the thing. PBS, there was no ads. Now it's going to have ads in it.
Yeah. I'm TiVoing it.
Yeah.
And you know, you'll buy the DVD set when it comes, or Blu-ray set when it comes out. Yeah.
If it's good.
If it's good, it'll be good. How could it not be good? And we're trying to get Neil on triangulation. I think Tanya feels confident. She's talking to his people.
That would be awesome.
King Canute came up with daylight saving time. It's driving Sue crazy. Sue says, enough with the S. It's not funny anymore, Leo.
Oh, really?
It's not fun. I thought it was funny. Is it Starbuck or Starbucks? I thought that was funny. That was a good line.
If you're a character in Battlestar Galactica.
Or Moby Dick. I don't think Starbucks is named after the character in Battlestar Galactica. I might be wrong on this, but I think it's named after the character in Moby Dick. Right?
I don't know.
She has no idea.
And I don't know who the little mermaid thingy is in the symbol either.
I don't either. The little mermaid in the symbol seems satanic to me. Let's start a rumor. So you wore red yesterday and you're wearing red today. Is that your color?
No, it just happened
by
to be
chance?
what I had clean.
I'm not. I think red is a great color. I'm fond of red. King Canute did not come up with daylight saving time. He liked to meddle with the tide. Exactly as bad as meddling with the clock. And equally futile. Oh, you're kidding. They're going to have the president introduce Cosmos. All right, now, look, I'm a fan and all that, but really, seriously, that's just blatant, like, let's jump on the bandwagon. Come on. There's a Starbuck in Carousel, huh? I think Moby Dick is the first. Will he say, do you think billions and billions?
Carl Sagan never said it.
He didn't say billions and billions?
Carson
Johnny Carson made up Carl Sagan saying billions and billions?
he wrote a book about it.
Poor Carl.
Yeah, Carl Sagan has a book.
In his book, he says, I never said billions and billions.
Something so imprecise. and he went back over all his lectures and recordings and things. And it's,
He says, I've never said that.
oh, yeah.
And then here's the article. How does he say billion? Oh, boy. And it's Neil deGrasse, right? No, not Grassy.
Right. I've never heard of Grassy.
Just want to make it so. It's Degrassi High,
Right.
but it's Neil deGrasse. Okay.
DeGrasse's.
Let's see. Here's some audio
Thanks for mentioning
from
it.
Carl
I'm very
Sagan.
excited about this.
Oh yeah, I'm excited about it too. I'm TiVoing it. We want Michael to watch it.
Billions, billion, trillion, trillion, million, 400 billion suns. Billion, trillion, million, trillions of orbiting snowballs. Billion, trillions, million, billion.
He says billion a few times.
Billion, 4 billion-year-old tree. Tens of billions. I have trillions. Billion, trillions.
So he was. He's talking trillions and billions. He was imprecise. That's just the same as saying billions and billions.
All right, Leo.
Billions.
I'll let speak in his own words.
Everybody, it's Leo time. 8888 Ask Leo. Yes, I am wearing balloon pants. How did you know? Let's go right to the phones. Kim Schaefer filling in today for Heather Hammond, and she did a selfie. Remember, we challenged Heather to do a selfie with a lion.
She did an African selfie.
She did an African selfie. It's with an elephant.
Okay.
And the elephant isn't exactly next to her. But she did a selfie. She said, "This is the best I could. This is the closest I can get." Is me, and there's an elephant running through the background. Good for her. Good for her. She did it.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
You know, you can't. This is my problem with Facebook these days. You can't. It was in my timeline at one point in my news feed, but then they've taken it out. I've just scrolled through it.
So can't you just type her name in and find
Yeah,
it?
that's what I did.
Ah, there you go. Oh,
Heather Hammond.
very cute.
How far away would you say that elephant is? It's a distance.
25 feet?
Yeah, well, it's close. That's good. That's good. That's pretty good. She did it.
Awesome.
What did I say I would give her if she did a selfie with a lion?
Yeah, I thought
A T-shirt. Okay, then we're all right then. I'm safe. I'm safe. So, who should I start the show with?
Well, it seems like we've got a bunch of calls from down south today, but we'll start with Thomas in Stamford, Connecticut, and he's trying to convince his mom to upgrade from XP to Windows 8. And I guess it's been very difficult. So
let's kick things off. Let's kick things off today with the XP discussion. Hi, Tom. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hey, Leo. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Hey, man. You've helped me out before, and I need your help again. So my mom has a Windows XP computer in the living room. It's like the family computer downstairs.
Yeah.
And she uses it once in a while. And last time I saw her using it, it takes her like literally 2 or 3 minutes to load a web page.
She's fine with that. She doesn't
Totally
say, "Oh gosh, this is taking a long time." She just sits there.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a Windows XP computer, and I think it's Internet Explorer 8 or even 7.
That's actually even more dangerous than the fact that she's using Windows XP.
Exactly. And I couldn't work with her. We were trying to do some financial stuff on it last time we were on the computer together. I couldn't do it. And I told her, "Mom, you need me to let me take like a day or two and upgrade it to Windows 8, please." Because I'm like the guy who knows everything about tech. Me and my brother are both are. Can you please just look in the camera and tell my mom why she should let me upgrade it to Windows 8.1?
Your mom is not alone, by the way. There are apparently nearly half a billion Windows XP users in the world today.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost 30% of all the computers in the world still run Windows XP. The reason this is an issue is not merely the old version of IE she's using, Internet Explorer, or the fact that it takes 3 minutes to load a web page. You could probably fix that, by the way, but that it's just going to be dangerous because April 8th is the last update Microsoft's ever going to do. We're 1 month away from the last update Microsoft will ever do for Windows XP. They say it's 13 years since XP came out, and Microsoft quite reasonably, I think, says, well, maybe quite reasonably says, look, guys, it's 13 years old. We can't keep fixing this. We're going to stop on April 8th is the last update. My concern is that starting April 9th, all the bad guys who want to hack Windows will release the hounds that they've been holding on to, exploits that will take advantage of your mom and the other 500 million people like her. Because the reason exploits are scary is you can train mom to do all the right things.
Yep.
But if Windows itself is broken, it may not matter what she does. A bad guy may get into her system. Microsoft itself said that after April 8th, it is Microsoft's estimate that 66%, you'll have a 66% higher infection rate. That it's going to jump to 66% after April 8th. Now, remember, one of the reasons Microsoft is doing this is to get your mom to buy Windows 8. In fact, really to get your mom to buy a new machine.
Yeah, I know
because
that.
Windows 8 isn't going to run on that 13-year-old machine.
It's a fairly newer computer, like a desktop computer. I think it must be like 5 or 6
Okay.
5 or 7 years old, the hardware.
It came with Windows XP. Maybe that's about right.
I don't know.
XP was replaced by Vista in about 2007, I'm thinking, 2006. So it must be older than that. Unless, well, I guess even, after a new operating system comes out, you can buy the old one for a little while. So maybe it's 6 years old.
Yeah, and we're not going to buy it because I already bought it on my computer. I got the student discount, so I have Windows 8, and I've been loving it. And I upgraded Windows 8.1, no issues, no problems. So, once I convince her to please let me do that, and I back up all of her data and everything, and I want to reformat the hard drive.
She is lucky to have you as a son.
Oh, I want to do it. It's like a little project of mine I want to do. For
and you're
her,
not the kind of IT guy that's going to do that and then wander away, and she's going to be stuck calling Leo saying, I don't understand how to use this. You're going to support her afterwards, right? Exactly.
Hey, don't even get me on getting her on a new phone because she's using a Android phone, and I want to get on a Windows phone. It'll be much easier for her to use it because it's easier. What about,
first of all, I don't know if you'll be able to use Windows 8 for free on her system because you've already installed it.
Well, don't I get 5 installs on Windows 8 already because I downloaded off the website?
I don't think so.
Because I think I have
Office. You get 5 installs. I don't, if you buy certain versions, but I don't think you get 5 installs of Windows 8. The chat room will correct me momentarily if I'm wrong on that one.
Okay, because
I believe you get one and exactly one and only one install of Windows 8. So that's problem one is you're going to, and frankly with her, because she's used to XP, I'd put Windows 7 if you could.
I wouldn't mind doing that. But, I just think Windows 8 because I'm always about latest and greatest kind of thing. I'm always on the state-of-the-art kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, Windows 8 is going to confuse her a little bit because it's a new user interface, whereas 7 isn't. 7 is exactly the same as XP.
I know.
So if you're willing to train her. The other thing is I think Windows 8 needs touch. I really think Windows 8 is designed for touch.
Yeah.
Do you have a touch computer for your Windows 8?
No.
You don't? All right.
No, I'm using an old 4-year-old Toshiba laptop for my Windows 8 computer, and I use it fine with the mouse and keyboard.
Now, having said all that, I'm going to tell you an alternative, which is not what you wanted to hear. But my friend Steve Gibson, our security guru, the grc.com, the Shields Up guy, he loves Windows XP, doesn't want to upgrade. He says he's not. He says he's safe. His suggestion, and I think this may be sufficient, is to make sure you have the latest version, Service Pack 3 of Windows XP. You're going to want to do a reinstall because it's so slow. That just means it's old.
Yeah.
She hasn't touched it since she bought it.
Yeah.
It's called bit rot, and it happens to all computers after a while. They slow down. Could be the hard drive is getting a little flaky. That's likely. Maybe get her a new hard drive. Here's what I would do. Take out the old hard drive. Get a new hard drive. They're cheap. Install Windows 8 or whatever you want to put on that new hard drive. You can keep the old one. And if she goes, what have you done to me, Thomas? I gave you birthday and now you're doing this to me. You can give her the old one back. Let me talk about what it would take to make XP safe when we come back. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. He really wants to install Windows 8. That's the bottom line on that. Conduit search. Conduit search. I'm going to kill you. And I don't think that's malware precisely. It's on my computer now, on my because of Michael. I came in last night, and he was trying to download Slender Man from Softpedia. I said, no, Michael, I'm gentle. One must always download from the original source, never from one of them there people. I gave you life and you give me Windows 8. Where did I go wrong, Thomas? Where? Leo Laporte, the tech guy. That big old jet airliner's pulled up, and right there he is, Johnny Jet. You've been posting teasing images on Instagram. Where am I? Where could I be? You're obviously in Hawaii again.
You know it.
Yeah, I saw the Hawaiian airplane, all of that. You're a lucky guy.
I am lucky, and I wasn't sure we were doing it, so I didn't have time to take a shower, so I threw my hat on. I got my robe on. Well, I do have my Aloha shirt.
Aloha, Johnny Jet. Where are you, on the Big Island? Or are you on? Where are you? Oahu?
No, I'm actually in the heart of Waikiki. Probably the best view on Waikiki. I'm at the Royal Hawaiian Hotel.
Oh, the Royal Hawaiian's the classic, isn't it?
Which is why I'm wearing a pink. Yeah, it's the second oldest hotel in Waikiki. The oldest is right next door, the Moana Surf Rider.
How fun. I've never been to Oahu.
Well, I'm actually on my way to another destination. I'm just here on a layover for a few days, and Natalie's here on vacation.
Can I ask you a question? After we had a big crash yesterday. It's still a little suspicious. Does it make you nervous then after you hear about that to go on a plane?
Yeah, actually.
Yeah.
I flew yesterday, and and before getting on the plane, the whole night I'm doing research on this crash, and
because it was a 777, which is a very modern plane.
That plane has pretty much a flawless record in their 19-year history, except the San Francisco Asiatic crash, which was pilot error.
That was pilot error, yeah.
And that was just they lost
I think
3
we don't know the whole story yet on the Malaysia.
Without a doubt, I was jet lagged. By the way, they don't change the clocks here in Hawaii, so it's only
it is paradise.
It's only 8:30 in the morning.
It is paradise. No clock change.
But I woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning and I did all kinds of research on the crash, and so I put a resource page together to.
Oh, that's good. At johnnyjet.com.
Yep.
Excellent.
But in this day and age, it blows my mind that a plane can go off the radar without any warning or anything. So
it's a big ocean, though, and it's hard to.
Usually, there's some kind of distress signal or something like the Air France plane. When the Air France plane crashed, there was a distress signal. They couldn't find the plane for a while, but at least we knew the general vicinity.
Well, that makes you wonder what happened, right?
For sure.
Anyway, a reminder that it's still the safest way to travel.
Without a doubt. So I got on the plane yesterday, and I asked the flight attendants that same question. They said no. I mean, they said this is the safest way to fly. Yeah,
they always say, and I think they're right. The most dangerous part of your trip begins on the way home, in the car.
Yeah. It is, and that's happened to me before. I flew British Airways one time, and the pilot, when we landed at LAX, he goes, "The safest part of your journey is now over. Please take care driving on the freeway."
Yeah, I think that's true. So you usually, when you join us, you often have a website, an app. Yep. What do you got for us today?
So, actually, I was listening to the Social Hour this week with Sarah Lane and Amber Mack.
Wonderful show.
And those guys were talking about a site that I actually was an advisor in the very beginning called Trippy.com. Have you heard of Trippy?
Not only have I heard about Trippy, I just got an email from them. There's something up there. What's going on with Trippy?
So they started a few years ago, and they've kind of, they keep kind of changing. So they went from first basically a question site. Then they went to kind of the Pinterest of travel, and now they're going back to their roots, which is brilliant. They're going back to the Q&A based platform. So they're kind of they're not taking on TripAdvisor or Yelp, but they're completely different. So let's say, actually Sarah Lane was using her example that she's trying to plan a trip to Iceland. So she put in some specifics about her trip to Iceland, and she got really good responses and very quickly. And one of my friends who uses it all the time, and I've used it, and I comment. A friend of mine was going to Raleigh, North Carolina over Easter weekend, and she has kids. And so she wrote, "Where's the best place to take my kids for Easter brunch in Raleigh that has an Easter bunny?" And then people comment and tell you exactly the best places. And what makes this place so much different, or this website so much better, is that it's map based. So whenever you're mentioning a place, you put the @ sign in, and it will map it all out, so you can see how far places are from each other. So let's say someone recommends going to these 3 restaurants or staying at these hotels. You can see exactly where it is and how far. And that's what I really like about it. And that's what Sarah Lane was saying, what she liked about it. And I think the site it's just coming out of beta right now. They're point 2.0 or 3.0 now. But
this is great.
I think you should try it for your Hawaii. Say, where should I go? I'm thinking about going to Maui or wherever you're thinking about going, and I'm traveling with how old's your
11-year-old.
11-year-old, and what would be fun for him and fun for the adults, and see what people say.
That's awesome. Yeah, and then we're looking at Costa Rica, perhaps. So that would be another one
and exactly the same thing.
They said 178 people know Costa Rica well enough to answer your questions on this site, and of course it'll get bigger and bigger and bigger, won't it?
Yeah, it's brand new, but they have some pretty big advisors on there, big travelers.
Yeah, Trippy, TRIPPY.com.
And then my last site that was just that just popped up this week for Mardi Gras, I believe, is Air P&P.
I thought that was hysterical. I actually think this is a good idea because this is a big problem. Less so in the U.S. where we have lots of public restrooms, but a lot of places in the world, it's hard to find somewhere a restroom. And you're walking around and you get a little desperate. So like Airbnb, which is a place where you can find places to sleep, Airbnb is somewhere you can find a place to go. And it started in Mardi Gras, right? It's because New Orleans is also a little bit.
I believe so. I mean, during Mardi Gras, when there's a parade and stuff, where are you going to? A lot of girls, especially Natalie, they do not like to use one of those porta-johns.
No, I don't blame them. Who likes to? No one likes a porta-john.
I know. Actually, one of my friends who got tipped over one when we were in college.
Not good.
My friends locked them in.
That's painful.
Over, so,
that's even to think about is painful. So I don't know if this was a joke site or what. They did launch during Mardi Gras Tuesday.
I just brought it back up now again.
It's still there.
They got all kinds of sites listed. They have 231 in Europe. They have 79 in the U.S. And then you can and they have 6 in Canada.
It just shows you that as the old adage for business, find a need and fill it. There is definitely a need. It's, by the way, it's airpnp.co if you want it. And
so I'm looking at the one in New Orleans. It's $1 for a restroom at this one place. There's a bar that says
I'd pay $1.
$5 for unlimited peas.
Unlimited use? In one day or 1 week or what? Like you have a pass? Do you get a bracelet?
It's a day.
It's the craziest
But you can also
ever.
add your place to pee.
Thank you. I'm not. Don't come here. JohnnyJet.com. That's where you should go to say hello. He's got great stuff, including a resource page for the Air Malaysia flight. JohnnyJet.com. And, of course, follow him on Twitter and Instagram, and we'll find out what mysterious... Oh, stop it. He's showing us a beautiful view right now. Holy cow.
Is that ridiculous?
Oh, that looks like you're in Hawaii 5-0. Yes,
that's where I'm going next. That's why I haven't taken a shower.
Are you a surfer?
Not very good.
But you could do it. Can you get up on the board?
Yeah, of course I can get on the board.
Well,
but
that's
I
the
can't
hard.
Stay up very long.
That's the hard part. If you can get up, stand on your feet, you're a surfer. If you can't, then you're not.
I like doing the stand-up paddleboard now.
Really?
Which was actually started by this legendary beach guy right next door at the Outrigger. And then Laird Hamilton's the one that made it mainstream.
I've only been to Hawaii once, but I think I have to go back. You're making it look very appealing right now, Johnny.
Well, try Trippy, and I'm interested in seeing what people say about it.
Yeah.
What offers they?
Johnny Jet, thanks for joining us. A little late to this weekend just because of your travel schedule, but we're glad you're here.
Next week, too, by the way, I'll be traveling.
All right. Coming up, more on making XP safe. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Ray Diaz, Texas. How does Johnny make a living? How do you make a living, Johnny Jet? How does he make a living?
Just sponsors and advertising.
Yeah, just like we all make a living, right? Look at this website. This is how he makes a living. Look at this great website. I was
not given a trust fund, which some people think. I was making zero money in the very beginning, and I just stuck at it.
But that's the thing is that anybody could create something like this. The problem is you have to have the patience to do it as a labor of love at first because you're not going to make money at first.
It's
podcasts,
completely labor
blogs,
of love.
whatever. Yeah.
It's still labor of love.
Right.
I travel like I'm a billionaire, but I don't live like a billionaire. Right. I live like my wife doesn't even like to stay in my apartment when I'm in LA. She calls it the man cave. So we always have to stay in a hotel when she comes, so she doesn't like to stay in my
You're
place.
kidding. No. She will not stay in your apartment. You stay in a hotel. You can just walk through. Are you leaving? Yeah. Well, don't leave yet. We got to get a picture. Thank you, Johnny.
All right,
it's his birthday. Vicenti's celebrating his 21st birthday. We're excited for him. Thanks, Johnny.
Take care.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy. We were talking with Thomas, whose mom is running Windows XP And as I mentioned, April 8th, Microsoft says that's it. You're cut off. No more updates for you. And there's a little bit of a debate about what's going to happen at that point. I personally think it's XP-geddon. Microsoft themselves say you're 66% more likely to get infected after we stop updating. There's a credible argument for Microsoft to continue to support XP. I'll give you both sides of this. On the one hand, Microsoft says, hey, it's 13 years. Are we supposed to support this thing forever? At some point, we got to stop. Greg Kaiser, writing in Computer World, says, not really. You made a lot of money on XP. It was the most used operating system in the world. It's still 30% of the world is using XP. We're talking almost 500 million computers. XP was a very profitable enterprise for your company. And now you have an obligation, because so many computers use XP, that this April 8th could be potentially disastrous for the internet. Not even for individual users like Thomas's mom. Bad enough, she might get infected. But most of the time what people do with these machines, they call them zombie machines. They take them over and they use them to attack other machines on the internet. Well, suddenly there's a 500 million strong zombie army that can be used to attack other machines on the internet, to spread viruses, to do something called denial of service attacks, where they bring sites down just by sending too much traffic their way. That's a lot. That's a big issue. Doesn't Microsoft have somewhat of a responsibility to the community? You made a ton of money. Congratulations. You had a very successful product. Now you got to support it. Maybe there's a middle ground. Microsoft says for $5 a year we'll support it, or $5, an update or something. The problem is that most of the people who have XP are like Thomas's mom. They're not going to pay anything. They're not even going to know there's such a thing. So question 1, can you continue to use XP after April 8th safely? And I believe that you can do a lot to make it safer. Make sure you've got all the updates, to Service Pack 3 and all the updates since right through April 8th. There will be a bunch of patches April 8th. Make sure that whoever's using XP does not run as an administrative user and does not have the administrative password. They should be running as a limited user. That will help prevent almost all infections. We talked a couple of weeks ago about a study that said 100% of Internet Explorer infections would be blocked if the user were running as a limited user. 92% of operating system infections. It still leaves a big hole, but it's a lot smaller. Make mom a limited user. Update her system, make her a limited user. Make sure you get her off the old version of Internet Explorer. Get the most recent version you can use on XP. I don't know what that is, but it's got to be later than IE6 or IE7. The most recent version. In fact, better yet, train mom to not use Internet Explorer. Use Chrome, Google's Chrome browser, which has a lot of protections built into it. So teach mom to use Chrome. Make her a limited user. Make sure you've got all the updates. The latest on XP is IE8. That's pretty old. We're up to 11 now. Yeah, I would say make mom use Chrome. Now, mom should have an up-to-date antivirus system. And there are all of the third-party antiviruses, ESET, Nod32, Trend Micro, PC-Cillin, all of them are going to update. They're not going to stop. They're making money on this. Trend Micro even has a page. We'll put this in the show notes at techguylabs.com. You've got XP. We've got you covered. They're going to do a virtual patching system, and we'll see. Now, I don't know how well this will work, but it might be a good solution. I figure a lot of security companies, Trend Micro is a good one, a lot of security companies will offer some sort of protection for XP users. Microsoft Security Essentials are free from Microsoft. They've said we'll keep these sort of up to date. We'll update the virus definitions, but they will not update the program itself. So that's only halfway there. Make sure that mom either knows about good hygiene or, and practices it, or maybe you go in there. Things like updating Adobe Reader, a Flash, updating Java if she has it. Actually, I'd take Java off and make sure if she's a limited user, she can't put it back. Take Java off. I think it's possible for mom to run XP safely. Now, one of the things you mentioned, Thomas, is that it's very slow. It may be time for a new hard drive or even a new computer. It's not that old. 7 years old, it should be fine. Putting Windows 8 on it isn't necessarily the solution, but I would pop that drive, put a new one in, and maybe put Windows 7 or 8 on there. That's, it's not free. You're going to have to buy it. Here's another choice that might be the best choice for mom. A lot of people use full-blown computers that don't need them. If what you do is surf the net, buy stuff on the net or look at web pages, send and receive email, play a few simple games, then you probably don't need a Windows computer. You should look at an iPad or a Chromebook, both of which are $500 around or less. Samsung's newest Chromebook is about $350, is fast, easy to use, is not prone to infection, is automatically updated. These, for a lot of people, these might be the right solution. I mean, an iPad for, a lot of the people who have full-blown computers is so much better. They'll be so much happier. It'll do all the things that most people want to do. It'll do it much more safely, much more easily, and more conveniently. You get 10 hours of battery life. You can wander around. It's little, it's light. And I don't think not being able to run Flash or Windows applications is a disadvantage, frankly. Microsoft will soon release Office for the iPad within the next few months. And at that point, you might be able to do everything you want on an iPad. You can use Google Docs on a Chromebook, and that will give you most of the things you need. Some people think Microsoft's going to blink April 8th. No. No. Rich is shaking. Rick's shaking his head. He said, no. Yeah, Windows Weekly hosts Paul Thurrott and Mary Jo Foley said no. They're veteran Microsoft watchers. I think they might blink. I actually think they might blink. There is an intense amount of pressure at this point. And it'll be very interesting to see what happens on April 9th. I personally believe that a great many of those billion machines will be infected almost immediately. By the end of this year, half of them will be infected. That's not acceptable. 250 million infected machines on the internet, that's not acceptable. I think it's a serious threat. I think let's take a break. I don't want to take another caller because I only have a few seconds left, so we'll take a break. When we come back, I hope that helps, Thomas. Good luck with Mom. You're not alone. 500 million others out there with XP. Dave in Fountain Valley, California is coming up. Wants to buy a TV. We can do that. We're good on spending people's money. And remember, everything I mentioned is available on the website, techguylabs.com. That's our website where we put the show notes, audio and video after the fact, links to everything I've mentioned. Of course, a link to our chat room, always a good place to go if you want to have some fun during the show, and the live stream and all of that. techguylabs.com. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. I think that's a good point. Absept says, my parents get infected all the time, and they're running Windows 7. Moving people to a later version of Windows is not going to help if they're doing bad things. And if they're smart and not doing bad things, then they may be all right with XP. I think that's probably what Steve Gibson was saying. If your behavior, if you are careful on the internet, then it really doesn't matter what machine you use. If nobody's relying on operating system patches for their security, if you are, you're in trouble. That's not enough. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Time to talk about computers and the internet, cell phones, home theater, all that jazz, digital photography. 8888 Ask Leo is the number. 888-827-5536. That's toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Otherwise, use Skype our website, techguylabs.com. Let's go to David, our next caller, Fountain Valley, California. Hi, David.
Hi, Leo. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Fine. Hey, Leo, my 42-inch 720p plasma died, and I've already gotten rid of it. So now I'm in the market to move up to a 60-inch, either plasma or a LCD TV. And I'm trying to keep the budget under, let's say, $1,500 to $2,000. So I go out, and I've seen some really great pictures on LED LCDs. Do I really need to stay with plasma if I'm going to be looking at it from an angle?
No. Most of the LCDs today have pretty good angles. Plasma's a better picture, but if you're going to get a plasma, you better hurry because everybody who makes plasmas has stopped.
Well, I've been looking at, I know the remaining Panasonics are pretty much out of my
unfortunately.
ballpark.
Those are great, but the prices have been hiked because they're not making them anymore. And those are really the best. I would say widely agreed that the Panasonic Viera Plasma is the best flat screen TV out there.
So I've been looking primarily at Samsung's, but should I be looking at other brands? Do you have any recommendations?
Well, LG and Samsung both still make plasma. For how long, I don't know. Because, like you, everybody arrives at the store and says, hey, those LED LCDs look pretty good.
Yeah.
So at this point, if you're buying a new TV, I don't see any reason not to buy an LED. The difference is that plasmas are faster. The response time is faster, so you don't have this action effect. Now, LCDs try to take care of it with interpolation, which I don't personally like.
Do you recommend the plasma with a 3D on it? Because
do you like 3D? Are you looking for 3D?
Not really, but it seems like I read something in the past that said the plasmas with the 3D capability seem to have a better picture than those without.
It's not that they seem to. It's that if you buy a high-end TV, it's going to include 3D. At least for now. That's starting to end. Vizio said we're not going to make 3D anymore. I think 3D's dead. But for the last couple of years, all of the highest-end TVs from every manufacturer included 3D as a matter of course. So it's not that there's something magic connection between 3D and quality.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just that they, if you have one feature, you're likely to have the other. I think Samsung's very good. I have no reason not to get it. The problem with looking at a TV in the store is that the TV, first of all, the store is a bad place to view it. It's not like your home. It's got lots of fluorescent lighting. It's very bright. TVs in the store are set to accommodate that into a demo mode or a store mode that is brighter. And, in fact, it is more attractive initially. Colors are more vibrant and saturated, but it's not more natural. It's, in fact, quite unnatural, but it draws the eye, and so people go, oh, it really looks good. But that isn't how it's going to, or how you want it to look once you get it home. You're going to calibrate it. So it's very hard to judge a TV in the store. If you can, get it into movie mode, get it kind of in a, look at it in the dark corner. Some, really high-end stores like Magnolia will have a special room for viewing that's more natural, more like your living room. Turn off the dynamic or store mode. I am partial to the Panasonic plasmas. I have one. I also bought a very expensive Samsung OLED TV. That's the future, I think, of TVs if they can get the prices down. I think they look really good. But I wouldn't hesitate, especially in your price range, to get an LCD. This is confusing. They're all LCDs. It's the kind of backlight, and the backlight is LED. I don't have a recommendation anymore for the best TV. I think they're all pretty good.
All right. Thanks, Leo.
You're welcome. Thanks for the call. Good question. Love spending people's money. Stacy, Anaheim, you're next. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, you're on speaker.
Oh, yeah, just pick it up, Stacy, and then we'll hear your rich tones.
Well, I just wanted to thank you for keeping me company over the last few years. I always walked to school with your voice in my head.
I don't know if that's a good. You were listening to me, right? It wasn't just my voice in your head. Okay, good.
Yeah, exactly. And,
all right.
Yeah, and now I was involved in an accident.
Oh, I'm sorry.
On Friday, and then now I'm laid up in the chair, and you're keeping me company.
I am so sorry. I hope you can get better. That's terrible. Terrible.
Well, I am really enjoying my Surface. I actually bought one based on so many people calling in and recommending.
Yeah, it's the Microsoft's first computer. They never, believe it or not, never made a computer before they made the Surface. They're already to the second generation, the Surface 2 and the Surface 2 Pro.
Yeah, that's the one I have. I have the Pro.
You have the Pro. So it's basically a Windows 8 tablet. Did you get the keyboard too, the keyboard cover?
Well, I got one of those floppy keyboards that you can just roll up.
Oh, good.
I didn't want to pay $159 and change and to just took the keyboard up.
I don't blame you. Yeah, good.
And you're going to hate me, but I still use a mouse with it.
Why would I hate you? You should. You know what? You should use it any way you darn well please. It's your computer. They call it a personal computer because it's yours.
Yeah, exactly.
That was the revolution. See, so many of you, like you, Stacey, are so young that you don't remember. There was a day when no one owned his own computer. You had to use somebody else's big mainframe in the basement and beg time on it. That's why they were called personal computers. This is a computer you own, you have on your desk, and you can do anything you darn well please. Make yourself happy. So if you want to use a keyboard, do.
Then I never buy a mobile computer without accidental.
Without, you mean the insurance?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because I was a little scared because in my accident, my backpack flew.
Oh, man. Did you get hit by a car?
I was walking across the street and got hit by a car.
I am so sorry. I am so sorry. Well, I hope you feel better, and I'm really glad you're listening and keep listening. And, the nice thing about the Surface is you don't have to use a keyboard, but you can. You don't have to use a mouse, but you can. I think those of us who are old-timers and been using computers for a while are used to the mouse. The mouse and key, I think there's a lot of speculation about what's going to replace the mouse and keyboard interface. Speech or, eye tracking or what? The Tom Cruise Minority Report style hand gestures. And we have all of those. But it's ironic, isn't it, that it turns out the mouse and keyboard are pretty darn good. They're precise. They're easy to, once you learn, they're easy to use. There's a little learning curve, but once you learn and it's not a steep curve, they're pretty darn good. I like the idea of adding touch to an existing mouse keyboard interface so you have flexibility, because there are times when you're looking at something that's scrolling it up and down with your finger, or you may want to tap a button real quickly. That might be a little bit easier. It's nice to have the choice. But I think for all of the talk about what's going to replace the mouse and keyboard, turns out mouse and keyboard are pretty good. They actually do a pretty good job. And if you've ever tried to talk a computer through commands, it's frustrating. Same thing with motions. The Microsoft Xbox and the new Xbox One with the Kinect device attached, they support gestures, and it's a pain. you look like Mr. Miyagi in Karate Kid. Wax on, wax off. It's just a pain. The keyboard and mouse, nice. Well done. Bravo. Hey, thanks for the call, Stacey. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Let me talk a little bit about our sponsor today on the show. This podcast brought to you by Gazelle.com. We love Gazelle. And if you have a gadget drawer or a gadget closet in your house, then you probably deserve to get a little cash for that stuff. It's just, right now gathering dust. And by the way, depreciating at every moment. Every second you wait to go to Gazelle.com is money down the drain. Go to GAZELLE.com and find out what that old iPhone or iPad, that Galaxy phone, even the BlackBerry. Find out what it's worth. Get some cash for it. Let me tell you some of the features of Gazelle.com. For one thing, every quote is good for 30 days. So you're not committed just by clicking on the button and getting a price. What's that Galaxy S4 worth? A good condition? $165. Boom, boom, booyah. I mean, that's 165 schmackers you wouldn't have otherwise, right? They even buy broken iPhones or iPads. You got an old iPhone 5 lying around. Maybe you got the new iPhone and you said, I'll get rid of this. I'll keep it for the kids. It's in good condition. Unlocked 250 smackaroolians. Now, here's the deal. Again, 30 days to take advantage of this, so you might as well just go through the whole drawer and one by one get those prices. Add it all up. When you decide to pull the trigger, Gazelle will send you a prepaid mailer, a box that you could just pile the stuff in. You do not pay for shipping on anything worth more than $1, and even a broken iPhone or iPad's worth more than $1. And then they get it, they check it, they remove your data if you forgot to, and you'll get paid fast by check, by PayPal, or get the Amazon gift card. They'll bump it up 5% just because you're a nice person. Gazelle has paid out more than $100 million to over 700,000 customers, many of them listeners to our show, because we talk about it all the time. I love them. I've used them. I invite you to try them too. What's your iPhone worth? Take a minute. Go to Gazelle.com to find out. It's not getting any more valuable over time. Gazelle, Gazelle.com. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hope you set the clock forward last night. If you didn't and you're joining us an hour late, I'm sorry. I barely made it myself. It's it's funny because in the old days you kind of knew. You went through all the clocks in the house, you checked all the smoke detectors, right? Added new batteries, changed the batteries and all the smoke detectors. That's just what you do. We spring forward. But now half the clocks in the house change on their own. Your computer, your iPad or tablet, your smartphone. I get those wall clocks that are atomic, right? They call them atomic. They're really radio clocks that update the time from the WWV, in Colorado. And so in many cases, but not all, they update themselves. In my case, half of them did, but half of them didn't. And I was sitting there. I thought, I got about an hour left. And no, I had to run out the door. Run! I wish we'd dude, am I wrong? Shouldn't we get rid of daylight saving time? Isn't this dumb? Isn't this really dumb? Or maybe just get rid of standard time and just make it all daylight saving time. That'd be okay. Just changing the clocks twice a year is nutty. You should still, by the way, go through your smoke detectors and change the batteries. That hasn't changed. Drew, St. Louis, Missouri, you're next. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Drew.
Yes, hi, Leo. Thanks for taking my call. Let me take you off speakerphone.
Sure.
Okay, hey, are you there?
I'm still here.
Yeah, hey, thanks for taking my call. Sorry about that.
Sure.
I just wanted to let you know that I am a frequent Twit viewer, and I'm a first-time caller.
I should explain so people don't think you're nuts. That's my podcast network, This Week in Tech, TWIT. And, in fact, this show's part of it, twit.tv, if you want to watch any of our shows. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, well, thank you. And by the way, I just want to give a quick side comment. One of your previous callers, you mentioned Microsoft Security Essentials.
Yeah.
I believe that this guy was trying to get his mom to upgrade from Windows XP to a newer version of Windows. And you mentioned Microsoft Security Essentials. And correct me if I'm wrong, but all of the research that I've done about security software has told me that that Microsoft Security Essentials is not as good as other security software.
I would say in general, none of the free solutions are. It's very, very difficult to test security software. And there are companies that claim to do it. The Virus Bulletin is a good one. But it's so difficult because how do you test it? Do you put it on a computer and then kind of let it sit out in the open for a while? No, you can't do that. So usually what these companies do is they have a test suite, a kind of a packaged up viruses, and they run all of the antiviruses against it. But that isn't a very good test because antivirus companies know what's in the test suite. They may do very well in the test and not so well in the real world. It's really how an antivirus does in the open. I generally tell people, because people are cheap, if you're willing to buy an antivirus, get Nod32 or one of the similarly highly rated antiviruses. But many people just want a free one. And of all the free ones, I think Security Essentials is the best. Mainly because it's from Microsoft. They have a certain amount of incentive to keep it up to date, and I think they do a good job with it. They bought a second-rate antivirus to start, Giant. And it was not a very good antivirus, but I think they've made it better over time. And it is built in, we should mention, automatically built into Windows 8. You all have it if you have Windows 8. So the other side of that is an antivirus is not much protection. And it's a false sense of security if you have an antivirus. You go, well, I'm fine, I'm safe. Because no antivirus protects you against yourself. And almost all infections today have a component of what we call social engineering. They trick you into installing them. And if you say to an antivirus, no, I want to install this program, it's the latest Flash, the antivirus is going to cooperate because you're the boss. It might later say, oh, by the way, you're infected. Too late then. So, in my opinion, antiviruses are belt and suspenders. They're additional protection. There's no reason not to have it, but ultimately, your behavior is what really matters. And I think we'd agree on that, right, Drew?
Yeah, and also I just wanted to mention that one of my mom's friends is a security expert, and she also kind of agrees that Microsoft Security Essentials is not the best program when it comes to security. But anyway, I apologize for getting sidetracked.
No, it's a good point, and it's well worth making. I still recommend it, and you know, nothing's going to protect you against yourself. That's the bottom line. And people, you know, simply running as a limited user, which no one does, would fix 90% of the problems out there. Do not run as an administrator. Run as a limited user. That's the bottom line. And nobody does
anyway, that. I apologize. Okay, so I have two questions, and
by the way, I prefer people use Security Essentials to Norton or McAfee, which is what most people use. So, having said that, now you may continue. What is question one?
That's something I wish I had time to ask you more about. But anyway, so on to my questions. So I'm gonna start off by saying that that I have a Windows 7 laptop, and I do not have a smartphone. I've never had a smartphone, and I intend on buying a new smartphone very soon. So my first question is, I want to buy a wireless or Bluetooth speaker for my shower. Because, you know, there
are quite a few waterproof speakers for the shower. This is you're not alone in this desire to never shower alone again.
Well, it sounds really weird the way you say that. But,
you want me in the shower with you. I know. It's okay. It's okay.
But, okay, so now, I'm going to be buying a smartphone soon, but I would think that the best thing to do would be to pair the wireless speaker to my laptop in order to save my phone's battery power. Now, I'll tell you that off the top of my head, there are 3 sources of audio that I'm pretty sure I'll be wanting to listen to while I'm in the shower. And this is in order of most, well, actually, no, it's not in order. But Last FM.
Yep.
Spotify.
Yep. Both of those will work on your computer.
And you, Twit.
That'll work on your computer, too. So all 3 can come out of your computer. Almost all modern computers have Bluetooth capability. They will pair with any one of these waterproof speakers. There's even Kohler even makes a speaker shower head. If you, if you want, you can replace your shower head with a speaker. So in every case, what you want to do is completely doable. You just have to have the applications for Spotify, Last.fm, and of course, the website for Twit on your computer, and you're done. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Here's one that looks like a duck. The eye duck.
Rubber ducky speaker.
I would say this is more like a bathtub speaker.
Is it a rubber ducky?
It's a rubber ducky. It's more of like a bathtub speaker than a rubber ducky. You're my friend, only $30. Look, see? The kids love it. I'm blue, dabo-dee, dabo-die, dabo-dee. You can also, it's got an FM radio in it. Wow. Just don't get in the tub with that guy.
Hey, it's an old iPod.
You know what? I don't think it's blue. I don't think it's waterproof. I mean, wireless. It's
no, it looks like the controls are on the back of the duck.
It does. Oh, yeah. Yeah. There it goes.
Why are they... Okay, that is creepy.
Let's see that in high def. That was our last caller. Victor is in Anaheim, our next caller. Hi, Victor. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Howdy, Leo.
Howdy, Victor.
I got a problem.
Uh-oh.
It's the internet. Oh, wait, my dog's barking. Maybe he has a problem,
Is
too.
your dog named the internet? Come here, internet. Come here, boy.
Else.
Oh, okay.
Well, I used to work for AT&T and Lucent Technologies when it broke off, when network systems broke off.
Mm-hmm.
And I was mostly a physical layer technician, but I did work in relation to the OSI model.
Okay.
Open systems, what's it called? Remind me.
Yeah, I don't know what OSI stands for, but I'm sure it's something wonderful.
Open Systems Interface.
There you go, OSI.
It's part of the OSI model. I did some technician work.
Yeah.
And I remember studying the OSI model.
Well, you're a network guru. You know about the 7 layers of networking and all of that stuff.
No, it's good to be humble because there's lots of crap, lots of stuff in there.
There is. And it changes so fast, right?
Well, it changes a little bit scary sometimes.
Yeah.
Anyway, I remember reading about IP version 6, and it uses the alphabet and numbers, and technically they're part of the ASCII open American
No,
standard.
the way IP version 6 works is it's still numbers, but instead of a dotted quad, which was like 192.168.1.1 is what we call a dotted quad. It's 4 8-bit digits surrounded by dots. And it was 0 through 255 for each of them are the acceptable ones. That's 8 bits of data. They've just added 2 more, so it's a dotted, what's a 6? Dotted sextet. So it's not letters, it's numbers.
Well, technically it's ones and zeros.
Yeah, it's.
But I remember reading. It's a large. It's a
very, 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 very large number. Large enough that every molecule, every atom in the universe could have its own IP address.
Exactly.
And we think that will be sufficient, but we're not sure.
when it comes to the government and spying on people and corrupt governments accessing the internet, and possibly doing away with private networks that are separate from the internet, and putting them onto to the catastrophe that turned out to be the internet, the way it operates as far as security.
I know there's a question at the end of these parenthetic clauses. What is the question?
The question is help.
Okay. So the reason it looks like there's letters is because we're expressing it, and you should know this, in hexadecimal. And hexadecimal is base 16. So we're used to base 10. We have 10 fingers. 0 through 9. And then when you get to 10, it's 1 0. There's 2 places, right? When it's hexadecimal, it's 16 places. Now, that's weird, but that's because computers work better with binary numbers than they work with decimal numbers. So hex represents, what do we do when we get to 9? We still need 5 more numbers, right? We A, B, C, D, E, and F. But it's not, the computer doesn't see letters. Just humans do, because it's easier for humans. Computer doesn't see digits, right? Doesn't see 1, 2, 3. It sees on and off. That's all it sees. That's why it's binary. It's on or off. It's a plus or a minus. It's a bit or it's not. So hexadecimal gives us even more than binary, than decimal in those 4 digits. That's all. Don't worry about it. It's fine. A, B, C, D, E, F. That's 5 digits. So 0 through 9 and A through F, that's hexadecimal. Don't worry about it. It's okay. It's going to be okay. It just means that you'll have to take off your shoes if you want to count. Barb in Spring Hill, Florida. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo.
Hey, how are you?
Great. Thanks for taking my call.
My pleasure. What can I do for you?
I have 2 questions. Several years ago, my mom passed away, and she seemed to be the family keeper of photos and negatives. And none of my siblings wanted them, and
yeah,
it was literally a huge tub full of these things. Some of them going back to the early 1900s. So the negatives were the big 1.5 by 2 inch
that's
negatives.
So great. You definitely want to digitize these.
Oh, okay. What I did was I bought a Canon 8800F scanner,
okay,
which was awesome. I mean, $150, did an awesome job. Had a little bit of a problem when it came to the old negatives because the templates weren't suited to those. So I basically made my own and fooled it and was able to scan those as well. As a result, I've got about 7,000 family photos in my computer.
So you did scan them. Wow, you are ambitious, Barb. Wow.
Oh, it took me a few years, and almost all of them are identified, labeled, and all that stuff. My question, though, is other than the cloud, what's the safest way to store them? I know that CDs in time will deteriorate. I've got them backed up right now on some flash drives as well as CDs.
So I'm going to repeat my friend Peter Krogh, I mention him all the time. His ears are burning constantly. He's a photographer and is an expert on digital asset management. He wrote a book called The Dam, D-A-M book, that is still available. It's still the classic on it. He also worked with the Association of Professional Photographers to create a website for professional photographers called dpbestflow.org. They did it with the Library of Congress. And, of course, one of the big issues for photographers is preserving our images. You know, if you're a pro, you got to say, you can't let those images disappear. They're just as valuable to them as your family photos are to you. So what does Peter recommend about this? Because this is best practices. He has at dpbestflow.org, and I'll put the link in the show notes to his backup chapter. He has a whole website based on backup. You probably should read it. It's an overview of backup. But the key to me is the thing I repeat all the time. I think it's the most relevant for you is the 3-2-1 rule. And this is not guaranteed. Nothing's guaranteed. A nuclear war, you're going to have trouble. But barring nuclear war, and maybe nobody will care about the images after the nuke.
That these gold CDs
no.
to not deteriorate for like 300 years.
Yeah, but how would we know? Yeah, what are you going to call them in 300 years? Say I want my money back? No.
Which is as bad as the vault that they put caskets inside and guarantee it to be leak-proof for 25 years.
I'm going to give them my head because in 1,000 years they can revive me. No. So here's the deal. We don't know. See, the reason CDs decay is because the way a CD works is it has a reflective usually metal reflective layer that the laser bounces off of. That layer corrodes, especially if you're in a humid environment. And if it corrodes, the laser stops bouncing and the CD is no longer readable. Same on DVD. The gold ones, maybe they're less likely to corrode. I don't know. I mean, who knows? We're not going to be here in 300 years. The key on all of this, and you cannot guarantee anything for 300 years, but in your lifetime, the key is 3 copies of anything. And that could be the original and 2 backups. Remember, if you delete the original, that's now 2 copies. You got to have 3 copies of everything. 2 different media types. Don't rely on DVDs or CDs. Don't rely on hard drives. Don't rely on thumb drives. Don't rely on cloud storage. The more varied, the better, right?
Yeah.
And
well,
then,
I've got them on thumb drives and CDs, and they're all sort of like...
But are they all in the same place? Are they all in the same place? So you're missing the third part, which is off-site. One of them's got to be off-site in case there's a fire. 3, 2, 1. We'll talk a little bit more when we come back. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Nothing will keep it 300 years. The best thing if you want to do it for 300 years is put it back on physical media. Print it on acid-free paper. Because paper lasts. Acid-free paper will last. But there's no guarantee that that hard drive will be readable in 300 years. In fact, it probably won't. Or that CD will be readable. It's not that whether it's going to last. Who's going to have a CD reader in 300 years? No one. So, and if you put it on carbonite or, what I'm going to mention is the Amazon Glacier, right? But is Amazon going to be around as a company in 300 years? I don't know. I doubt it. But that's no guarantee. So Glacier is an interesting idea. It allows you to store stuff that you don't want instant access to for a very, very low price, $1 a gigabyte a month. And you can send them a hard drive, which is probably what you're going to want to do. So you send them the hard drive, and they back it up, and they send it back to you. And then if you ever needed it, you could get it. But that's good as long as Amazon's still in business, or at least as long as Glacier is still offered. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. Great question from Barb. I've got this treasured trove of family pictures on my hard drive. How do I preserve it 300 years? It's not the issue is not whether those gold discs are going to corrupt in 300 years. The real issue is anybody going to have a DVD or CD reader in 300 years? Probably not. If you put stuff on zip disks 10 years ago, you know anybody who can read those? The issue is the digital media is going to be obsolete in a decade or two, 300 years. So the Declaration of Independence, that's not even 300 years old yet, is it? What do we do with that? We store it in an oxygen-free box with UV filters, and we certainly don't let anybody touch it. Ironically, Barb, the best way to preserve your pictures for generations would be to print them out again on acid-free paper, store them in the dark in an oxygen-free container if you've got one lying around. That would be the best way to preserve them. And then hundreds of years from now, we're all going to have eyes. We may not have DVD readers or hard drive readers, but we're all going to have eyes. We have the Egyptian papyri. Those lasted. We have the Rosetta Stone carved in rock. That lasted. But a digital format is not going to last a couple of decades, let alone 300 years. So it's a very interesting question. It's actually a question that librarians, this is modern library science. This is the kind of thing it's concerned with, not the Dewey Decimal System. Modern librarians are really information curators and preservers. And this is one of the questions they deal with all the time. I do think it's exciting because for the first time, I mean, imagine if we could see a film or video of Abe Lincoln or George Washington, what our sense of history would be, and maybe the accuracy of our histories would be. Well, starting, in the beginning of last century, and certainly by the time the digital era took off in the 80s and 90s, and now everything's recorded digitally on video and pictures. Some of that will last. Some significant percentage of that will last. People will have, historians hundreds of years from now will have an amazing treasure trove of information, which is quite interesting. I imagine that there will be archaeologists 300 years hence who will have a way to read this stuff. They'll make an attempt to preserve it somehow. But unfortunately, Barb, it's not going to be your pictures or mine that get preserved. It's going to be the official White House pictures, the official White House videos. Isn't it always that way? We don't know much about day-to-day life from 1,000 years ago. We know how the princes and the kings and the pharaohs did it, but not how the average Joe did. So I admire you, Barb. I mean, your question, I think, was really, are these gold discs worth it? It's not something worth worrying about. Will you have anything that can read them in 30 years? Forget 300. Put it on a variety of formats, hoping that one of them survives. And then really, if you do want to preserve this stuff, it is probably a good idea to pay attention to it. Every 10 years or so, assess it while you still have the zip disk reader, pull it off and put it on something modern. I do think cloud storage is a good idea because you don't really pay attention to what it's stored on. That becomes less important as long as you have access to that cloud storage. Amazon has a service I've mentioned before, for instance, called Glacier. It's a penny a gigabyte a month based on the fact that you won't want it right away. It's a little slower. It's glacial in its speed of recovery. It's a secure, durable, they call it, storage for data archiving. Still not inexpensive. I mean, let's say you have 100 gigabytes worth of stuff. That's $1 a month, $12 a year. You can upload it to them, or you can send them a hard drive. That's kind of cool. You send them a hard drive, they'll send it back to you. And I think that's a good solution as long as Amazon doesn't go out of business and as long as Glacier continues to be a service. But you're going to have to pay attention. You're going to have to watch your email. How long is your email address going to last? Because at some point in the next 300 years, Amazon's going to send you an email saying, we've decided to terminate the Glacier service in favor of 3D holographic storage in your brain. Please download all your data and put it in your brain or whatever. And who knows? I mean, Amazon's a pretty, I would bet on them to survive for some time, but how many companies last 300 years? Not many. How do we put it on Voyager? We did a gold record, right? See, with a record is something that could be reverse engineered because you could see that there's little grooves and you could see how those analog grooves turn into sound. It could be intelligent alien species could look at the gold record and say, how would we, what would we, how could we make this playback? Oh, get me a needle. But you send them a hard drive, I don't know what they're going to do. I guess they could probably figure that out too. I don't know. I noticed we didn't send in a hard drive out on Voyager. 8888 asked, it's a great question, Barb. I'm glad you called. Rob, Irvine, California, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Rob.
How you doing, Leo? I may need aliens to solve this problem.
How do we read this drive?
Exactly. Actually, I'm trying to find a solution for my brother. He's a lawyer, and he and his law partner, they help folks who've been injured in motorcycle accidents, and often they need to send photos in of either their injuries or damages to their property and things of that nature. And unfortunately, some people send very large photos, clogs up the email system, and we have problems with that. And I was hoping that we could find...
Somebody has a Samsung phone and is getting messages.
Yeah, that's the background there. Yeah, someone's calling me. I've had a radio. Hey, Rob, you're on the radio.
I love it. I think you've been on the radio before, Rob. You got that voice.
Thanks.
Have you?
Well, I've called you twice.
Yeah, we've talked before. This is a great question. I have an advertiser that does a job specifically for lawyers and others called ShareFile. It's a really great system, but it's really designed for the lawyer to, for you to share with the other people. They'd need a ShareFile account to share their photos. So while it's HIPAA compliant, it would be compliant with any regulations that your brother needs to adhere to. It's not going to be a great solution for his clients.
That's the problem. I tried OneDrive. I have a OneDrive account or SkyDrive account, and I set up a folder and opened up the folder for people to be able to edit the folder. And I thought just maybe I sent myself a link to a different email address to see if the person could upload to that. But again, you have to have a SkyDrive account.
There used to be this great thing called Drop.io. Drop.io was written by a guy named Sam Lessin. Brilliant. It solved this problem. You could on the fly create a Drop.io account and say, here's the file, and your brother could pick it up. Unfortunately, it was such a good idea that Facebook bought it, hired him, and killed the service.
Oh, great.
So I'm going to call on the chat room for help with this, because that's what we want, is a similar solution. Your clients won't always be particularly technically literate, and that's going to be a problem. It has to be something very easy to set up.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping. Like a link that we could send them in an email. They could click on the link and then drag and drop photos from their desktop.
We have to take a break for the top of the hour. Hang on. I bet you we find something during this break. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Yeah, I see the Code Canyon thing. It's... Hey, by the way, speaking of sponsors, the podcast is sponsored by the good folks at LegalZoom.com. Not a law firm, but a place where you can do legal, solve your legal needs in a self-help way and gain access to an attorney through their legal plan services. It's really a great solution. This is it's National Start Your Business Month. This is a great way to start your business by protecting it with LegalZoom. LegalZoom will help you incorporate or with a LLC or a Chapter S or C corporation for $99 plus the state filing fees. That's so much more affordable than having an attorney do it. And believe me, it's just as good. We still use the LegalZoom paperwork that we when I LLC'd Twit. What was that, 2005? Get the trademarks done too. We did. We trademarked the name Twit and the logo. $169 plus filing fees. Get a last will and testament. Protect your family. And if you want an attorney, they can arrange it. They've got legal plan attorneys at very low cost, fixed rates in almost every state. You can read their bios, their profiles, and unedited reviews at LegalZoom.com. 1 million entrepreneurs have used LegalZoom to start their businesses. Do it today for Start Your National Business Month. Take advantage of their National Start Your Business Month special, and you'll get a free 3-month trial of the all-new QuickBooks as well. Wow! That's $119 value free. You've got to use Tech Guy in the referral box at checkout. We'll also give you $10 off any LegalZoom service. LegalZoom provides self-help services and connect you with the right attorney, but they're not a law firm. They're better. Visit LegalZoom.com to save on your legal needs. And don't forget, use Tech Guy. You'll get that 3-month trial of QuickBooks and $10 off at LegalZoom.com. Offer code Tech Guy. Well, hey, how are you today? Hour 3 of the Tech Guy Show. We're talking about computers, the internet, home theater, smartphones, digital photography at 8888 Ask Leo. That's the number. 888-827-5536. We were talking to Rob in Irvine. His brother's a lawyer, and he does motorcycle injury cases. Wants his clients, and this is the tricky part, to be able to send images for his review. And he wants to, of course, because you're a lawyer, you have to do that securely, privately. We've got about 18 solutions from the chat room, a number of different services, and we'll put all of these at techguylabs.com. But I checked into our sponsor, ShareFile, and they actually, this is probably the way I'd recommend it. Your brother would have to have a ShareFile account, not his clients. So he has to have one ShareFile account. It's I think all attorneys, all doctors who share files over the internet should be using this anyway, because email's insecure. It's fundamentally insecure. It's not private. And as you mentioned, the file's too big, you're going to get bounce back. There's all sorts of things. So with ShareFile, once you have an account, you can set and it's very easy. It's to do. It's right on the menu. Request a file. So what it does is it will generate, if you request a file, a unique link that you could then put in an email to your client and say, I'm going to send you a link. Please click this on your computer and email me the picture. And the link has your brother's logo on it. When they click it, it goes to a secure website with your brother's logo on it. And it's clear even for, I mean, obviously they have to have a computer. But it's clear even, I think, for fairly novice users how to do it. It has instructions. They can upload it. It's nice because it's going to be completely private to them. Now, one of the solutions that we will put on the webpage at techguylabs.com is a $9 bit of PHP code that you can add to an existing website that will give people an upload capability. But I got to say that the risk of all of these simple, easy-to-use solutions is we don't know how secure they are. We do know ShareFile is secure. It's from Citrix. It's, you know, they're kind of an established player in this industry, and I trust them. And as I said, you've got to, you know, the little disclaimer, they are a sponsor. But this is as easy a way to do it as possible. Your clients, your brother's clients, do not have to have an account or anything like it. They just click on a link and they upload the file. It will work on mobile as well as on a desktop. I think it's probably the easiest way to do this.
Perfect.
And we'll put, if you go to techguylabs.com in a few, James is going to put all of the links that we got from the chat room. There are quite a few services that do this. I just don't know. It's one thing if it's just, you know, you, but an attorney has a higher fiduciary responsibility to his clients. So sites like filedropper.com, while easy to use, we don't know who else sees those pictures. It's just, we don't know. Citrix you can trust. Okay, Rob?
Great. So the sponsor came to the rescue.
Sponsor to the rescue, and I like that.
Yeah, and you know, I looked on ShareFile. I was checking all these sites, but they just don't indicate that feature. And I should have just signed up for a free account.
No, well, you can, but you know, I didn't know either. I had to look, and of course, right there, it's right on the front. It says request a file. That's a really good way to do it. And I'm going to add that to the ad because that's actually a useful thing. There are a lot of people who might need clients to send them stuff.
And we can try it out with a promo code TWIT.
TWIT or Leo or whatever. Yeah, there are quite a few, I think. Yeah. If you can use Leo, that would be good. But you have to click the link at the top of the page there.
We'll give it a shot. Leo, thanks so much.
My pleasure, Rob. Thank you. Take care. Thanks for the sponsor plug opportunity. Somebody called, and Kim told me that somebody called and was a little confused because I'm telling people, Kim, right, that they should not run as an administrator on any operating system.
Correct. And she just has no idea how to even do that.
Yeah, she was particularly concerned in the most important place to do this would be on Windows XP. Yeah. But any operating system, we know for a fact that any operating system would be more secure if you don't have full privileges to destroy the operating system. When you're administrator, you got the run of the system, and any bad guy who gets you to click on a link or gets you to install software gets your privileges. So if you're an administrator, he's an administrator. So think of it that way. If you're giving yourself administrator privileges, you're giving the bad guys that too. Give yourself limited user, and the bad guy's a limited user, and he can't do as much. So how do you do it? It's pretty easy. You need to do it in the user's control panel or the user and accounts control panel, a system preference pane on the Macintosh. I think it's users as well. What you're going to do is you're going to create first, just to make sure you have it. You do in most cases on Windows, but just in case, you're going to create an administrator account. I always use my initials for the administrator account. Not my name, but my initials. You could use admin or administrator if it's easy to forget. Use administrator, right? Then you'll know. And give it another password. Create that account. Make sure you check the box that says this is an administrative user. Once you have created that account, then you can downgrade your own account. You may not even have to log out to do that. In some cases, you just check a box, say, operate as a limited user. It's, again, in the user and accounts control panel. You may have to log out of your account, log into the administrator account, and do it from the administrator account. In fact, I would do that just to make sure that you have the administrator account and that it's working. Make a note of the administrator password. Do not make it the same password you use all the time. Make it something different. And from now on, never log in as administrator. Always log in as yourself. But when you want to do something that needs administrator privileges, you will have to escalate your privileges. It will ask you for the administrator password. Now, admittedly, if you're just kind of blithely going along, you might just go, oh, yeah, sure, and enter those I don't think so. I think that just simply the warning from the machine, you have to be administrator to do this. The request for the password is enough to prod you to go, oh, yeah, I'm about to do something dangerous. I'm about to do something that will perhaps infect my system. And it also protects you against silent exploits. This is maybe even more important, especially if you're continuing to use XP. The reason that it's important that XP is not being patched after April 8th, that Microsoft's not going to put out any fixes, is the things they're fixing are things that allow a bad guy to access your system without your knowledge, without your doing anything. And in most cases, the bad guy will get into your system while you're using it and have the same privileges you do. He won't know the administrator password. He won't be able to install his stuff. It doesn't have to be a super complicated password, by the way. That's not the security. The security is just the fact that the password has to be entered. The password has to be entered before you can install software. That's the most important thing. So I'll tell you what. Let me find. There must be, and I'm sure that the chat room will help me. There must be a nice tutorial on this. If not, we'll have to write one. If not, we'll have to write one. But it's a pretty straightforward thing to do. Now, you may find it a little inconvenient. You may be sitting on XP and say, oh, I really want to do, I want to update my system or I want to update my antivirus. Oh, no, I have to be an administrator? That's fine. There's a trade-off between security and convenience. We're opting for more secure, a little less convenient. And there you go. I hope that makes sense. Chat room is, there's so many bleeping computer maybe or old geek. What is it? Computer geek. This old computer geek. There's got to be a way to do that. Ah, there you go. There's one from Computer World. We'll put a link in the show notes, techguylabs.com. More of your calls to come. Daniel, you're next from Redlands, California. He's got a social media question, how to manage his accounts as we continue. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. So it's my understanding, and I may be wrong on this, but that this so-called hidden administrator account is only on OEM versions. It's something that the OEM puts on there when they install it, but it is not going to be on there by default if you installed Windows 7. So for me to say this is not particularly useful because not everybody will have this. So if you installed your own version of Windows, for instance, you won't have this. Or if somebody had set it up for you, you won't have. I don't think so. I don't think so, ICN. I think this is something that is typically put on, created by the OEMs, the so-called built-in administrator account. It exists automatically? Well, I'm going to have to try it. I believe, certainly I thought for a long time that this was created by the OEMs, so I may be wrong on that. Excellent. Excellent. Thank you, Padre. That'll be a good one. Well, ask in here, Drew, because I don't think we're going to put you back on. We don't like to do repeats. OEM and Pro, but not all So if I installed Windows Home on my system, there's always a account. Okay, Burke says there's always one. So even if I have a hard drive, blank hard drive, and install Windows 7 from a install disk, there's a hidden administrator account? Okay. Good to know. So this will work, although obviously this is not how we're going to recommend people do it. Daniel in Redlands, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Daniel.
Hi, Leo. How are you today?
I'm well. How are you?
Well, you've got Google+, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Yelp, LinkedIn, and Pinterest, and probably a few that I haven't thought of. It's getting to the point where I'm getting sucked into the social media black hole of time management.
Are you a business? Do you need to do this for your brand building?
Yeah. Well, I was thinking you are a business, and you have looked at this, I'm sure. So how do you manage?
I don't. I hire people.
Okay.
Most businesses, if you really, I am too. If you really want, and so I did this myself for a while and didn't do it well, because it's incredibly, insanely complicated. Yep. If you are a business, you should have a web page. That's number one. I'm not talking about a Facebook homepage. I'm talking about your own web page that you own. You own the domain name. You own you don't have to run the server yourself, but you can use a hosting company like Squarespace, but you need to have your own website. Then, and only then, should you add a Facebook page. Everybody should have a Facebook page. If you expect to communicate with your customers, you should have a Twitter account with your brand. Pinterest is useful if you have products to share and your users use Pinterest. It's mostly women, so it really depends on the business. I don't think a plumber needs a Pinterest account. But if you sell women's clothing or shoes, you absolutely need a Pinterest account. So you have to judge where your customers are. Facebook and Twitter are the biggies. Now, I like Google+, and I use Google+, and they also, by the way, Facebook allows you to have a brand page. So make sure that your page is not your personal page, but a page for your brand. Similarly, Google+ allows, in fact, requires a personal page, but you can, from your personal page, create a brand page. Do that, although my experience with Google+ is it's not in very widespread use at this point. Watch the Academy Awards. What did people talk about? Hashtag Twitter. First, foremost, and second, and last. They didn't mention Facebook even. So Twitter and Facebook. And Twitter is really only about communicating with your customers. So there are others. You mentioned LinkedIn. LinkedIn is good if you're looking for employees, or you're looking for a job. I don't think customers are going to find you through LinkedIn particularly. So let's make it simple. Let's make it simple. Web page is number one, then Facebook and Twitter. Now, here's the hard part. You can get a program like Hootsuite. There are a number of companies that specialize in managing multiple social accounts. Hootsuite's one that I use. It's for business. It's a social media management dashboard. But don't be tempted to make the same post on all 3 or 4 or 5 services. Ideally, you post natively on each service. That is, a Twitter post is 140 characters. It's concise. It's a certain kind of post. Putting that on Facebook doesn't make sense. Use Facebook with images, longer posts. Same thing with Google+. Google+ is really designed. There's a style for each, and you should post in the style. So it may be tempting with all-in-one posting solutions like Hootsuite to say one post and put it everywhere. I would use it to post individually to each site. If video makes sense, you should have a YouTube account. If images make sense, you should have an Instagram account. And there are programs like Hootsuite, that will allow you to manage them all. But do try to put some energy into the content itself and not make one post for all of the above. If you're a movie star, I was so sad to learn George Takei, Mr. Sulu on Star Trek, the great hero of Star Trek. We love Sulu, right? He is very active in social media. He's the guy who was on the LG ads going, "Oh my." He's wonderful, and his social media posts are fabulous. I was so saddened to learn that he doesn't do them. He has people. Ellen has people. Everybody, no movie star does their own. Very few do. You know who does? Steve Martin does. But that's about it. Lady Gaga does, and the truth is, if you do it yourself, there's a certain something. People know when you're doing it yourself. President Obama doesn't do it himself. It's the office of the president, not the president. Lady Gaga, I think, actually does her own posts. I really think she does. Some of them are nuts, and that's why I think so. No actual PR person would post some of the things Lady Gaga posts. So it must be her. Authenticity is best. You want to be real. You want to be authentic. What is your business?
I have a product called Alphamite, ALPHAMIGHT. It's a all-natural energy supplement.
So, if you look at what Red Bull and other energy drinks are doing, they're very active, aren't they? But you got to do it appropriately. You got to use so if it's on Red Bull uses video a lot. GoPro uses video. I'll put them on YouTube. You can link to them on Twitter and Facebook, but
I actually did a YouTube video called Alphamite 9.
Good. But who's going to go look at that? How are you going to get somebody to go look at that?
Exactly.
Start with your own webpage.
Right.
It all starts there. And if you don't have your own webpage, you're at risk because any one of these other people could pull the plug at any time. They decide they don't like you, they could kill your site, so you don't own it.
Yeah, we did a website called alphamite.com, and we've done some of the things you suggested. The problem is I turn on the computer at 6 in the morning, and 1 or 2 in the afternoon, I haven't done a thing.
It's right. It's a full-time job, isn't it? So you're going after athletes, bodybuilders, people like that.
Yeah, bicycle riders, runners, joggers.
So what you do is look at what those people go to. Where do they use? You want to be on maybe their forums. They may be more active on forums, bodybuilding forums, than they are on Twitter. So you're right. I mean, if a big guy like George Takei, I wouldn't even think George Takei is a big guy, but he has somebody who does it for him. There are a number of agencies in Hollywood that specialize in managing social media for movie stars.
Okay. So if you're on a really limited budget, where do you get the most pound for your buck?
Well, like I said, you start having a webpage because that's the place you're going to send people.
Yeah.
And then I would say, don't do promotional videos. GoPro doesn't do promotional videos. Red Bull doesn't do promotional videos. They tie themselves to videos that could potentially go viral because they're so good or so interesting. Find somebody doing interesting things and tie yourself to that, not necessarily create them yourself. Nobody wants to watch a commercial. I would start with a website, then Facebook for you, Twitter if you want to have a communication. That won't take a lot of time. And YouTube if you can make videos that are more than just promotional advertisements. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Good luck. It's actually a great question. And I think he's got a good start. He's got a good website with lots of information. So that's a really good start. This is critical because what you hope for is people will become interested, and then you can refer them to the website where they can learn what you need them to learn and perhaps order it. I don't know about that. Now, see, he's got Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Google. And you did the right thing. You put the Connect with Us on the page. And I think these are the big ones. I don't think LinkedIn matters. Instagram, maybe. You got to think about what kind of content you can create that, and it's not going to be an ad that will promote your product and generate traffic. It's hard work. Yeah, Twitter for me is a nightmare. Twitter is where people go who hate me. But you know what? I very actively unfollow people on, or actually block people on Twitter. If they're really hateful, I just block them and I don't see them. That's just for my own mental. These are mostly okay. Yeah, these are all positive. For a while, it was like I couldn't use Twitter, but I've blocked all the nasty grams. This is the silliest thing. I don't know if you're watching, Lucas, but really, what were you thinking here? It's not running. It's not loading. Oh, well. I don't mind. It's, it means people care. Drew, St. Louis, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Drew. Is it me? It's me.
Oh, hey, Leo.
Oh, no. Oh, good. Hi, Drew. How are you?
Yeah, I was on. Yeah, hey, I appreciate I appreciate you taking my call again.
Oh, you've been on hold this whole time.
Yeah. Well,
I'm sorry. What is it that you wanted to know, Drew?
Well, okay. So basically, what I wasn't able to get to before was I want a shower speaker with good sound paired to my computer instead of my future smartphone, if possible.
Yeah. Any Bluetooth speaker, if your computer does Bluetooth, and most modern ones do, any Bluetooth speaker will work. We've reviewed a few. You might want to watch before you buy our product review show, twit.tv/BYB. And just look through the show notes. There's waterproof speakers, quite a few. I don't know why. We seem to have a thing for waterproof speakers. And there are a lot of different kinds. We showed one from ThinkGeek that is a rubber ducky. That's more a bath speaker. I mentioned that Kohler has a waterproof shower head speaker that looks just like a normal shower head. But as far as super high quality, I just don't know. I don't listen to enough of them. I have a Sonos speaker in the bathroom. For me, that's sufficient. Anybody have any experience with shower speakers that wants a good one? And all of them will pair with your PC if it has Bluetooth, and if it doesn't, as Abstruse points out in the chat room, it's inexpensive to add Bluetooth to a computer with just a USB dongle. Pyle, P-Y-L-E, somebody's saying Pyle speakers. I think the fact that the speaker has to be waterproof probably means it isn't going to be state-of-the-art. And as somebody pointed out, the noise of the shower probably means you're not going to hear a lot of the detail that the speaker's capable of. So, and remember, your computer will have to be within roughly 30 feet of the shower. Bluetooth only goes about 30 feet. Hey, thanks, Drew. I appreciate it. Now, let's see if we got Jeremiah back. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Jeremiah. Nope. Hi, Mark. How are you? Chatsworth, California.
Oh, hey, how are you doing?
I am well. What can I do for you?
I'm like a media server within my house, where I have like files I've saved on a computer, like where I've just recorded them, like from DVD and Blu-ray and stuff, because I don't want to carry around the notebook.
Right.
And so I have a central computer where I have everything saved, and then I try and stream it across the house to different rooms. And it's relatively easy to do. The question that I had was, is there a media server that works across multiple platforms that would allow me to do like a Netflix style thing where, like, if I watch a movie in one room and I want to go to the other room, it'll remember where I was?
I would look at Plex, P-L-E-X,
okay.
Plex.tv. Plex will run everywhere. It is really powerful. It's based, a lot of the really good media servers today. There's iTunes has a server, but of course it's iTunes, so it means it's Apple only. Right. There's Windows Media Server. That's a little more flexible. But Plex goes everywhere. It's based, like a lot of these are, on Xbox Media Center, or XBMC. That was an open source project to duplicate the capabilities of the Xbox Media Center. But they've gone well beyond that, and I think that they've got some really good solutions. So Plex...
Well, I tried Plex.
Okay.
And
it works on Windows, Apple, Android, Google TV, Chromecast, Roku, Samsung, LG, Linux. I mean, it is as flexible as you can get. What problems did you have with Plex?
Well, so it worked amongst all the platforms, but if I was watching it, for example, in the bedroom, it would not remember.
Oh, it wouldn't remember where you were. Okay.
Right. So that's what I was trying to find. And I have an XBMC server on the main computer, and at least when I'm on that computer, like if I stop, at a certain time, it'll remember where I was.
Yeah, the chat room says XBMC does remember where you were because it has a single MySQL database. I thought Plex would remember, but in fact, a couple of people in the chat room said Plex does remember. I'm wondering what is going on. Yeah.
Okay.
You would think that Plex, being a superset of XBMC, would do everything XBMC did. And that is certainly what people want, right? I stop watching on my iPad, I go in the bedroom, and I watch on my computer, and then I go in the living room and I watch on my Roku. It should remember exactly where you are on all of them. I think
kind of what I was wanting.
I think Plex does. A number of the people in the chat room say, well, it works for me. So maybe there's a setting. If you can get into the chat room, you might ask them what it is that they're doing to make it that way, because that is, of course, what you want. That is, of course, what you want. Maybe it's a Flex Premium thing that I don't know. Abstruse says he pays for the premium. Maybe that's why. But then Keontech says, no, you don't need Plex Pass. It'll work on the free Plex. So it's probably something in your settings. This is a nice thing. Plex is really, there you go. Keontech says you do need to make an account with MyPlex because that's where it's remembered. That makes sense. You need a central spot that's going to keep track of where you were in True Detective and will pick up again later. But that's free to create that account. So maybe that's the solution. Chat room is available if you go to our website, techguylabs.com. That's where I put all the links, all the information. We even put audio and video of the show after the fact up there and break it down question by question. So you can go directly to a question, see the answer written out, listen to the audio, watch the video, and in fact, you can even comment. And I hope you will. There have been a few things, like perhaps you know a good shower speaker. Comment on that one. Or you have a solution for Mark about having Plex work so that he can start and stop on different devices. That's where to do it. Comment in the chat room. Plex is a really amazing solution, but it's complex. That's, the more power, the more complex it's going to be. And Plex has gotten, over the years, more and more sophisticated. Plex.tv for more information. It's free software, but they do have a premium version. I think it's $4 a month. That gives you more information, including Cloud Sync. Maybe that's the solution, right? Plex Sync. Plex for Chromecast. And so forth. But you put Chromecast, that's that $35 Google device in all your TVs, and now anything you've got on a computer anywhere you can see on your TV. That's cool. Love that. Jim is in Los Angeles. Hi, Jim. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo.
Hey, welcome.
Leo, hi. I've got a MacBook late 2009. The memory limit says 4 gigabit. But I'm really maxing out and would like to go to 8 gigabits. I saw maybe you can, and I wanted to.
Well, I just go to everymac.com. This is a site where every Mac is listed, including all of the limitations and capabilities. You can go directly to your model of MacBook and find out exactly what capabilities it has. That's the easiest way to do it. It's what I would do. Really nice site that goes back through all of the Apple devices. Everymac.com. Our show today brought to you by, I was talking about it earlier, ShareFile. Now, I'm going to add the capability because I didn't really know it could do this. I've never done it. Let me log into my ShareFile account. That you can use ShareFile to get others to share files with you. What is ShareFile? Well, in business, you know, how often does a business email have an attachment, a contract, a spreadsheet, a presentation, an image? It seems like it all the time. But you know that attaching them to email is a bad idea. It's not secure. Bounce back's a real problem with larger file sizes. There are still plenty of email systems that will accept nothing more than 10 megabytes. In fact, there are email systems where the entire inbox is merely 10 megabytes. ShareFile eliminates the bounce backs because you're not sending a file, you're sending an attachment in a secure way. Let me show you how I do it. I use ShareFile every single week to send audio to the various radio stations. You'll have, and by the way, I don't even have to send them an email anymore because I've given them permission. So ShareFile has syncing. So I record the audio. In fact, I'll show you here. I record the audio and save it to a special folder. Oh, I've zoomed in. On the desktop. That folder is automatically synced. So, well, let's see. Here's some recordings. So these are all the recordings. That folder is automatically synced with the ShareFile synchronization application. It's synced to the cloud, which is nice. So it means that ShareFile is always up to date. Everything that's in this folder on my computer is on the ShareFile cloud. And because these people already have permission to access those folders, they'll get an email automatically. See the upload alerts? They all get alerts in their email saying, Leo uploaded new files, so I don't even have to tell them. But I still do as a courtesy. So let's say I've got some new recordings here I want to send to a station. I'll check those, and I'll say send. There's a couple of ways you could do it. Now, if you're using Outlook, by the way, they have a great Outlook plugin. Makes this very simple. But you can also use the email form on the web page. It'll pop up when you say send file. Or do what I do, which is give me a link. That's all I want. I can say email me when the file has been downloaded. I can require recipients to enter their name and email before they download. I have control of how long they can access it, anything from 1 day to forever. I can control how many downloads they have. They can have unlimited downloads or 10 or 1 or 2. So this is very handy for the radio stations. I almost always say this is only good for a week because usually it's an ad that's only good for a week. I don't need the email, but I could have that. I could have them, do all that. So I click send file. Now I get this link. Now this is the link I can put in the email, but I'll show you what they see, which I really love. I'm going to copy to the clipboard. They'll click the link in their email and they'll see this page. Notice it's branded. It's got my logo on it. It'll have your logo on it too. In fact, ShareFile customizes for a wide variety of businesses. They'll see the files. They'll see what kind of files. They see who created them, when, how big they are. And they have a download button. They just press that and it downloads automatically. It's easy for them. They don't have to have a ShareFile account. And let's go back because now we know you can also request a file the same way. I can send a link to customers or clients and say, hey, I need a file from you. Click this link and it'll do it all automatically. This is so cool. It's designed by business for business. Citrix, a great business solution, HIPAA compliant with regulations in many industries. I invite you to try it free right now. Just go to sharefile.com. Sharefile.com. Use the offer code TechGuy. Now, please do me a favor. There's a number of places you can click for the free trial. The big green button, the menu item. But please click at the top. Podcast listeners, click here. That's the button I'd like you to use. And enter in Tech Guy when it asks you. 30 days free for business. Yeah, most end users probably don't need this, although I have to say, now that I have it, I use it for everything. The other day I met a woman, took pictures of her kid. It was so cute. He had chocolate over his face. And she said, oh, I want those pictures. I asked permission. May I take pictures of your kid? He's so cute. She said, yes. She said, can I have those pictures? I said, no problem. I got her email address, and I sent her a ShareFile link that day. And it's just so easy. Sharefile.com. Make sure you click the link at the top of the page and use the offer code TechGuy for 30 days free. 8888 ask Leo. Hey, I want to thank Kim Schaefer, who's been filling in for Heather Hammond today. Did a great job. Thank you, Kim. Some wild calls today. Kim will be back next week. Heather will be back from Tanzania, where she's on safari. And she did take a selfie with an elephant. Brave girl.
Somebody said as long as she doesn't get eaten by a lion, she'll be back.
I want it. Yeah, I'm looking for that lion selfie. And you know, Heather's the kind of gal that
she'll do it.
She's going to do it.
She will walk up.
She will do it. Anyway, great job, Kim. Thank you for filling in.
You're welcome.
Let's continue on to Tom in Warren, Ohio. Hi, Tom. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo. How you doing today?
I am well. How are you?
Well, I'm doing okay here. We had a little bit of sunshine, not too cold.
Spring will be here any minute now.
Oh, yeah. It snowed last night a little bit, but we're sunshiny
I know.
today.
I can't believe we got more snow. This is ridiculous.
Yeah. I had the same solution you had. I have I took your advice and got a Sonos and put it in the bathroom and take a shower and
just turn it up, and it sounds pretty darn good, and you don't have to worry about it getting wet.
Get another one and pair it with that and make it stereo because I like it so much.
Yeah, Sonos is very flexible. The only negative is it's pricey. But boy, they sound good. They sound good, and I am a big fan. I am a big fan.
Yeah, I was just wondering on a MacBook, do you think it's better to go with the Air or one with the spinning hard drive?
I think even if you get one if you don't get an Air, you can get a MacBook Pro. If you're going to get the MacBook Pro, get the SSD. They offer SSDs in all of the MacBooks except the low-end MacBook Pro, and I don't recommend that one. Get the one with Retina, 13 inches or 15. It's your choice. The only reason to get the Air, and by the way, I have both because I'm cuckoo, and I like the actually, I gave Chad my MacBook Pro with Retina because he needed a new computer. I like the Air because it's portable. It's so lightweight, and so that's the one I travel with, and carrying it around the house and so forth. So if it really depends on weight. If you're asking SSD versus spinning drive, boy, nowadays just get an SSD. They're so much faster. I find that if I'm on a old-fashioned computer with an old-fashioned spinning drive, it just feels really sluggish to me.
Right. I have another question. Only thing, if I stop out there in July, do I got to make a reservation to stop in the studio?
Well, we have an open studio all week long. Anytime people can come by. We do shows all week. If you want to come for the radio show, it is a good idea because we have limited seating in this little studio. So email tickets at twit.tv, tickets at twit.tv, and let us know. That way we'll make sure there's room for you. It'll also, if I'm not around or something like that, it's a good idea.
Yeah, I have a wedding in Nevada City in July.
We get visitors all the time, and I love it. I really do.
That's only I think a couple hours, maybe 2.5 hours from you. So I said, I'm going to fly out there and go visit Leo.
I'd be very flattered if you come, Tom. Thank you.
Very good, Leo. Thanks.
All right, take care. Yeah, I know it's crazy, but we do have an open studio. People wander in all the time. But it's a good idea to let us know ahead of time so we make sure there's seating for you. And if I'm on vacation, then you don't sit and stare at an empty seat for 3 hours. Diane in Colfax, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Diane.
Oh, my God. It's so good to hear your voice.
Oh.
Other than on the radio. Okay, I'm an old broad. I know a little bit, not a lot.
Okay.
I had a smartphone, so I thought it would be smart to get a tablet that was Google-based. So I bought a Nexus, and I was listening to Coast last night, had it on a sleep timer, and then I wasn't going to sleep, so I decided I would reset it. And when I went to reset it, I did something, and now I have a black screen, and I have you on KFI, but I cannot turn it off, and I can't get a live screen.
So the screen's off, but the audio's working.
Yep.
How weird. Yep. Well, these things happen. A tablet's just like any other computer. These things can happen. Is it plugged in? Are you getting power?
No, I had it. It was plugged in earlier. In fact, I noticed when I unplugged it that it had heated up because was using my LG phone one instead of.
Here's what I would try doing.
I have the back off now.
Yeah. I would first try just turning it off by pressing and holding the power button. That's the one on the top for a while. And normally that'll just turn it off completely. Once it goes off, my voice stops, and let it sit for a second, and then turn it on again by tapping that button and see if it comes back normally. If it does, it did not. You tried it already.
Yep.
All right. Then there's a little bit more serious one that's kind of a reset that might help, and that's to hold both the power off button and the power up button. I hear myself in the background.
Yeah, sorry.
That's all right. The power button and the volume up button. So they're the ones next to each other. It's actually a rocker on the 7.
It's a rocker, and I can't hold them both at the same time, I don't think. Okay,
yeah, you can. Just use 2 fingers. You have 2 hands, I hope.
So yes.
Okay, some people do. Volume up. There's actually 2 different things. Volume down and the on-off switch. If you hold them both at the same time, that'll set you in recovery mode. We don't want to do that yet.
I don't mind.
Well, they made that be the next step.
Okay. Oops, I didn't get it on.
Is it the first generation or the second generation Nexus 7?
I have no idea.
Is it older?
I bought it last year in March.
Might be the first generation. The first generation, and I had this problem. If you let the power drain all the way, you couldn't get back to work. But eventually you can if you just do this 2-handed thing. Power and volume up, okay? And so turn it off all the way first with the power button, and then do the power and volume up button. That's a hard reset, and that will usually get things working.
Off now.
Okay.
Okay, so volume up and. Okay.
I know you got it up to the speaker now, so I'm hearing myself. But yeah, so power, it'll work.
Okay,
it'll work.
Both.
Yeah. So you turn it off, which is the soft reset, and then you turn it on by holding the 2.
I got something. God bless you. Darn.
Thank goodness.
You're not only fabulous to listen to, so that some of it filters in. That worked.
Thank you so much, Diane.
Now I see the little Android guy with.
Hey, he's back. Yeah, he's getting updated. Thank you, Diane. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Have a great Geek Week. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. I'm Leo Laporte. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, the Tech Guy is just the tip of the iceberg. We do nearly 30 shows now on the Twit Netcast Network, and you'll find them all at twit.tv. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on Mac Break Weekly, iPad on iPad Today. You get your daily dose of tech news from Tech News Today, and our weekly roundtable show, This Week in Tech. It's all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next time with another great Tech Guy podcast. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.